Take a quick swig of water. Can't be having a clogged throat before we get started. How is everyone doing? Welcome back to the Way of the Ace podcast. My name is Christian James. This is episode 2, and real ones, if you follow me on Instagram, know that this is a retake. The reason is I'm here in South Korea, in Seoul, and I'm currently studying at a summer school. I'm doing like a 3-week summer school program, doing it for the sake of traveling, just getting myself out there. And I currently live with a roommate. Now you can't really see, this is my bed here. His bed is just over there. And so we're sharing like all the facilities and stuff. So it's difficult to get a chance to really film. But I've just filmed a video that'll probably be on Instagram very soon. And I'm getting this podcast done whilst he's out getting some food. So, I tried to film outside recently and there was a bit of a breeze. And I don't know if you've tried filming or anything outside when there's a small breeze. You can barely detect it, but this fucking mic goes mental in the wind. Like the audio is completely trash. I couldn't stomach myself uploading it. I made some good points, which is a shame, but I guess that's the game. Speaking of games, let's get into the volleyball chat. That's why you're here. The Way of the Ace podcast is designed for you to improve your mentality, improve your training, and improve your approach to volleyball as a game. I make this podcast as what I would have wanted when I was a kid and just learning volleyball. I've been playing volleyball for 6 years now. I'm an outside hitter, and so I give advice on how to become an ace, how to become the ace or captain of your team, how to lead your team through tough times, all that good stuff. We cover everything on and off the court on this podcast. And this episode is dedicated to mentality. I've got my little notes here. Let's get a quick itinerary. So first of all, my experience with mentality and my journey. Second of all, what does it mean to have an ace's mentality? What are my thoughts on that? Third of all, how I improved my mentality theoretically. So like talking about how you can improve your mentality, more how it works, mentality, and how you can practically build your mentality on and off the court. That's going to be the golden bit, so make sure you stick around. So first of all, my experience with mentality. I was a whiny little bitch, not to sugarcoat anything, when I was younger. I might have been the worst player to ever play with on the court. I was horrendous. Every time I'd make a mistake, you'd see it on my face. Every time I'd do something good, you'd also see it on my face. I wore my heart on my sleeve, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But in volleyball, when every point matters and every single time you touch the ball, you're only touching it for milliseconds. You touch the ball for 1, 2, 3 seconds during an entire match cumulatively. And so every moment that you spend on that ball matters. And so mentality is such an important thing. And I had the worst mentality ever. I was this whiny little piss baby, I said in one of my previous videos a few months ago. And it's true. It's completely true. I was probably the worst player you would ever want on the court, just because I was so envious of the people who were better than me. I was so jealous. I had a loser's mentality. I had this mentality where if I honestly take a shot every time I say mentality in this video, it's probably going to be quite a lot. But I had this loser's mentality where every single time I'd make a mistake, it would be this whole drama. You'd see my face. I'd be like this. Okay, just dead, completely dead to the world. Nothing anyone said could get to me. Nobody could try and cheer me up. Nothing like that. It was terrible. It was really, really bad. Especially when there's only 6 of you on the court. You could count me out. If I made a mistake, you could count me out of the game. Okay, and that is not what an ace does. That is not the player who I wanted to become. The reason I had such a poor mentality is because I've always been a perfectionist. I've always been this person where you have to do something right or not do it at all. And I make a lot of mistakes. Everybody makes a lot of mistakes when they first start playing. And so when you make all those mistakes and you fuck up, I couldn't stomach it. I couldn't hack it. I couldn't bear the thought of people looking at me and thinking, man, this guy's trash. This guy's ass. I mean, of course, they probably weren't thinking that. And even if they were, it doesn't matter, because I was in my first, 1 or 2 years of playing. But for some reason, that really got to me. It really hurt. I think I developed that because I used to do trampolining. So in trampolining, if you're familiar with it, you get 2 routines, 10 moves each, and you get up onto the trampoline and do your routine in front of 3 judges. It's just you and only you. And I did that from when I was maybe 7-ish until I was about 12. So I did it for about 5 years. And I took it pretty seriously. I had dreams of going to the Olympics one day, but the pressure just got to me. That is such a huge weight on a 12-year-old's shoulders that I had to quit. But that solo, me against the world mentality that I had back then carried over to when I started playing volleyball, which is a team sport. And you forget that it's a team sport sometimes. You get wrapped up in your own head about all the mistakes that you're making and stuff like that you forget it's a team sport. You have 6 other people, including the libero on the court, who are there to support you, who want to see you succeed. They want to see the success of the team. But you just can't see that because you get whipped up into this whirlwind. So trust me, when I'm speaking on this is something that I'm very passionate about. This is something that I have wanted to improve in my game as of recent. I want to grow up. Okay, I want to grow up. I think it's very easy as a teenage volleyball player to get wrapped up in your own emotions because you're still figuring things out, and that's completely normal. But it's kind of a perfect storm on the volleyball court. It's really rough. So that's my experience with mentality. I really struggled, and so how did I improve it? Jump the gun a bit. What is an ace's mentality? What is the golden mentality? Okay, what are we chasing? Because the truth is, you're not going to have a perfect mental. Okay, nobody's got a perfect mental. I made a video about it recently, about the things I refuse to do. And the first point, I wanted to place emphasis on this point because I think it's really, really important that everybody fights battles. Okay, it's not talked about enough. Everybody tells you to keep your head up on the court. Okay, but nobody tells you that you can let it down when you're off the court. You can let your head hang a bit. It isn't unhealthy. People make it out to be unhealthy sometimes, and that you're weird if you feel those lows, and that you need to be positive all the time. But the truth is, that's just not how life works. That's not how volleyball works, and that's not how life works. So in private, you can let your head hang a bit. You can go, why me? That is what fuels me personally. That might not fuel you. That might drag you down. It's all personal. Okay, you will come up with your own personal strategies. But my job here is to help you as best as I can to guide you on that path. And so, what is an ace's mentality? An ace's mentality, the thing that we are chasing, is you want your back to be an inspiration to your teammates. I'm pretty sure that's a Haikyuu quote. Your back should be an inspiration to your teammates. You need to be this magnetic force on the court, a powerful force, but a magnetic one as well. You want to be so magnetic that the opponents root for you, the opponents congratulate you. That is a great environment to play volleyball in. And environment is an extension of mentality. So if you show up with this positive mental, everybody around you, this is what I mean by magnetic, everybody around you is going to pick up that mental as well. They're going to have a positive outlook. The setter's going to give you tons of balls because you make him feel really good. It's all about showing up with a positive attitude. And positive attitude sounds like the can of beans kind of phrase. like just the average, like everybody uses this phrase, but you do need this positive mental attitude, this PMA, you know? It's super important that you carry that, and you try and uphold it in times of difficulty. Because like I say, you want to lead your team. That is an ace's job. An ace's job is to lead your team. And so when you show up with this positive attitude, you're congratulating people. Like, you don't look at people with jealousy, but you look at people and your teammates as an opportunity to improve as a team. You know, you start seeing the game as a team sport rather than a solo sport. Lots of people go on the court for the sake of their own ego. And when they ultimately fail to live up to the expectations that their ego dictates, then they let their hair drop and shit goes wrong. Okay? That's not an ace's mentality. So you want to show up with this positive attitude. You want to lead your team through hardship. Okay? And when you think of a leader, what is it that a leader would do in the specific situations where you're falling short in? That is the mentality that you're chasing. And like I say, you're not going to be perfect all the time. But I think that's super important. So being able to congratulate your teammates, being able to uplift your teammates. Okay, and it's no point uplifting your teammates if your head is held down. So being able to maintain this positive attitude, how do we do that? Especially if, we're in a situation, we've all been in this situation, where you keep fucking up, you keep making mistakes. How do we overcome that? How do we leave those points behind and progress into the future of the game? Because the future of the game is never certain. You could have a crazy comeback. Who knows? At the end of the day, volleyball is put the ball in the opponent's court. Just because a team is better than you, or just because your team is performing worse on that day, doesn't mean the rules change. You can still put the ball in the other person's court more than they put it in yours and take home that win. It's that simple. It's really that simple. So that's what an ace's mentality is. How can you theoretically improve your mentality? And we're going to get into a little bit of neuroscience here. Not that I'm an expert or anything. This is just my understanding. So please, take everything I say with a pinch of salt. But there is a little bit of truth to what I'm going to say here. Regardless of if I'm way off the mark. Your brain is neuroplastic. And stick with me here, because we're going to go on a bit of a tangent, but I promise we're going to rejoin. Your brain is neuroplastic, which means it adapts to specific ways and patterns of thinking. Okay? A negative person is going to stay negative because your brain doesn't like change. Your brain doesn't like to change its way of thinking. Okay? It has the ability to, but it's why you get into these routines. It's why you react the way you do to certain situations. And you think, for example, for the longest time, I was quite a socially anxious person. I struggled in conversations, and I gave myself that label of, okay, I struggle in conversations. I'm quite anxious. And the problem with that is that my brain then defaulted to being socially anxious and struggling with stuff like that. And so I got locked into that pattern. I got locked into that trench that was built into my brain over thousands and thousands of repetitions of conversation. And we do the same thing with being negative and being positive. Sometimes we label ourselves as a negative person and we get lost in this rut of negativity. And your brain will constantly look for things that reinforce that personality, that reinforce that identity that you've built. And so what we want to do is we want to rebuild that identity, okay? And the key word that I've just said is repetitions. Okay, over thousands of repetitions, your brain builds these pathways that makes things easier for it to operate. Your brain doesn't like being wrong. When you label yourself as a negative person, your brain wants to be right, so it looks for the negative things. Okay, so how do we rebuild an ace's identity, a positive identity? How can we become that person on the court? We need to rebuild the identity from scratch. Okay, you are inundated with decisions on the court and off the court. And when you are inundated with decisions, your brain, as we've been saying, will take the path of least resistance. For example, let's say you need to hit the gym, you need to hit a jump session, something along those lines, but it's late, okay? Your negative brain will tell you to stay in. Let's say it's 7 o'clock, okay? You haven't eaten, you need to train. Your brain will say, that's too difficult. Go get some nice food and go chill out for the rest of the night, okay? But your positive brain, the little angel on your shoulder, is telling you, go fucking train, okay? Grab some food before you train, grab some food after. All of a sudden, you've done the exact same thing, except you've trained, okay? That's a lot of effort. That takes a lot of going against the grain. And so you go down that rut. Positive and negative is exactly the same. Let's say you're getting targeted on serve receive. You fuck up. Your positive brain is telling you it's only 1 point. Your negative brain is telling you you just fucked up and you're the worst player ever. And if you reinforce that identity of being a negative person, of being this person that lets their head drop on the court, you're going to take that path 100% of the time. It's just how things work. And so how can we rebuild that? We need to take the path of most resistance. We need to take the path of most resistance. We need to do that on and off the court. Rebuild your ACEs mindset, your identity. Mindset and identity are the same thing. So if I say them, they are very, very closely linked because an identity comes with a mindset. Okay. So how are we going to improve this? In theory, you are going to, on the court, take the path of most resistance every single time. Let's say they're targeting you on serve receive. This is the most common place where people let their head drop, but this can apply to anything, getting blocked even. How do we not let our head drop? We tell ourselves, we force ourselves to believe that is a point gone. That is gone. Okay, and it's going to be really difficult. And I'm going to be honest, it's probably not going to work at first. You're probably at first going to say, nah, you're bollocks. That's bollocks. That's a load of shit. I'm the worst player ever. Okay, it's going to be hard, especially if you have built this negative identity over many, many, many matches and many, many, many training sessions. It's going to be really difficult. But start somewhere. Just start. Okay? Plant that seed. Make the first iteration. Make that first indent in your brain that will slowly become a ravine where your brain goes, hang on a minute. Well, this is actually the easier path now. This is what regulates me more. This is the path of least emotion. This is the path of more enjoyment, more dopamine. But your brain doesn't know that yet, so you need to teach it. You need to force yourself to think that way. And force yourself to have this positive mindset. Like I say, it's not going to be easy. It's not an overnight change. You can't flip a switch and then all of a sudden you're a positive person if you've been negative your whole life. It's just not how it works. So just try your hardest, okay? It is going to take effort. It is going to take a lot of work. It's like in the gym. You do 1 rep of bicep curls. You're not going to have huge biceps when you wake up the next day. But the changes are going to be tiny. It's going to be slight. But over time, they grow into big, beautiful, succulent biceps. It's just how it works. It's just how it works. And so that's how it works theoretically. How do we do this practically? Take the path of most resistance. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from this podcast today, it is take the path of most resistance. If you experience any sort of resistance in your day-to-day life, make sure you treat it as a rep. Treat it as a rep in the gym. I don't want to go to the gym today. Go to the gym. That's a rep. That's a discipline rep. Discipline is one of the aspects of being an ace. Doing the work when nobody's looking. Okay, do that stuff. Mindset wise, let's start doing mindset reps, psychological reps. Looking at something negatively, maybe you missed the bus. Try see the silver lining of it. Try see the silver lining in everything that you do. These are the practical steps that you need to take in order to become a more positive person. There are some studies that show that people can build happiness. People can become more happy. And I tried this myself for maybe a month or two. I haven't been doing it recently. I'm not too sure why. I mean, I'm in a pretty good state right now. But recently I was struggling a little bit. And so I decided to give it a shot. And every morning I woke up and wrote down 3 things that I'm grateful for and 1 thing that happened yesterday that I'm happy about. 1 positive experience that I've had in the last 24 hours. And studies show that if you do that every single day, it becomes a habit for you to look for the positive outcomes. Okay, and you don't need to do anything as disciplinary as that. That is something that I recommend. I definitely became a happier person during those times, and it's made me happier now. So if that's something that you're interested in, maybe you already journal, maybe you write regularly, something like that, where you have an what do you call it, an intentional morning, add that in. Add that in. You can make it volleyball related. I've never done this, but if you have a volleyball journal, start writing down what went well in practice instead of focusing on all the mistakes that you made. Maybe you got a crazy kill block. Maybe you got a crazy spike down the line. Maybe it's right in the corner, super sharp line shot, something like that. Start writing down those positive experiences, because over time you're going to accumulate data, you're going to accumulate reps, you're going to build that ridge in your brain that tells you, I'm going to take the positive path every time. And over time, you're going to become a more positive player, this player that's super magnetic. You can inspire confidence in your teammates because you carry yourself with confidence. These are super important things, And so even if you're not going to do anything extreme, like keep a journal or, journal every single day or something along those lines, just go into life with this new mentality of, I'm going to be as positive as I can, and recognize that you're going to have bad days. Everybody has bad days. I'm completely transparent about my bad days. I have horrible days where I get nothing done, or where I'm super negative, or where I'm super upset. It's just important to recognize that is part of the roller coaster of improvement. It's not like this, it's more like this, but then the overall trend is that it goes up. Okay, so recognize that you are on a journey here, and mindset is its own beast. It's going to be difficult, but just try and reframe everything. Try and be as positive as you possibly can. And so that would be my advice. That's what I specifically did. I tried to look for the good things in my gameplay. I tried to find my reason why I play this sport. And from my reason why, most of the time it's going to be because you enjoy it, because it keeps you fit. All of these positive things that you lose in those moments on the court when the world's closing in on you and you think that everything is against you and all this shit that just makes the game not fun anymore. Have fun. Have fun. Forget what I said earlier. This is the thing that I want you to take away from this video. Fucking enjoy the sport. Be grateful for the fact that you can play volleyball. Be grateful for the improvement that you make every single day. Spend some time looking back. Maybe do keep a journal. Spend some time looking back on what you have achieved. We don't do volleyball to achieve. Some of us don't do volleyball to achieve things or to get better, but yet they still get wrapped up in this negative self-talk. Well, remind yourself that it's a hobby. Just everybody walking onto the court with a more positive mindset, with this identity that can't be shaken by mistakes, by failure, is one more person on the court that makes volleyball a more enjoyable experience to play as a player. So try and be that person. I had a DM recently from somebody who was asking me, what can they do about their setter who gets wrapped up in other players' mistakes, who lets their head drop when another player on the team makes a mistake or fucks up or something. And I just said to them, there is very little you can do. There is very little you can do. You can't control other people's mindset, but what you can do is you can show up with your own positive mindset, okay, and let that rub off on other people. Okay? And so that would be my advice. Just have fun with it. Try and look for the silver linings in things. And make sure you're consistent as well. We're going to have bad days. That's not what I mean by that. But try and do this stuff consistently. Don't have a really good week where you're super positive and then have a month where you're exhausted and super negative. Try and keep this up on and off the court. Try and be as positive as you can wherever you go. Because naturally that will feed into your game. That will feed into this ace identity. Lead people actively. Contribute your opinion more. Just try your best to be that leader figure, because that is what an ace is. And becoming an ace is an extension of becoming a leader. Being somebody who is self-confident, who carries himself with confidence, him or herself with confidence. Somebody who can light up a room. All these things are things that you can develop. And so that's my advice for people on mentality. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'm trying to keep these episodes a little bit shorter and a bit more concise. So I can't cover everything all in these videos, but if there's any gaps, if you want any more specific techniques or anything, drop it in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram. That's at ChristianJVX. I'm posting pretty regularly on there again. Took a little bit of a break to travel, to get into some stuff, but I'm back now, back enjoying things. Later today I'm going to a baseball game, so I'll probably put that up on my story. It might be yesterday, the baseball game, since I might upload this tomorrow instead. But we'll see how things go. And if you've got some volleyball planned, fuck it, tag me in your stories. I'd love to see what you're getting up to. If you've watched this all the way through, you are truly an ace. You are truly destined to be an ace of your team. And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to give me 5 stars or 4 stars or 3 stars. Just rate the podcast, because it helps people who discover me naturally. They can see that, oh shit, other people think that this stuff is valuable. And I might freaking watch it. I might tune in next week or something like that. Of course, if you don't think it's valuable, please tell me how I can improve. I just want to help you guys as best as I can. And so if you want more specifics, if you want more stuff that's, more practical, then please let me know. But yeah, if you enjoyed, let me know as well. I don't really know what to say at the end of the podcast. I've not done this enough. This was being episode 2 of the Way of the Ace podcast. Just a reminder, my name is Christian James. Follow me on Instagram, follow me the podcast, and I will catch you next week with another episode. Have the best week of volleyball ever, and enjoy your time on the court. Okay? I will see you all later.